One morning, everyone was going about their business in an ordinary coffee shop. A normal day was starting in the city. No one was aware of anything important. People were continuing their daily routines without looking at each other. Everyone was missing something in the rush of that ordinary morning. But there was one man, a man who would learn the lesson of his life that day, a very big lesson. An old man was cleaning in the corner of the shop. He had a worn-out apron on and a broom in his hand that he had been using for a long time. There was a sadness on his face that bore the traces of the years, but no one saw it. People saw him as just a simple cleaner. The old man cleaned every corner of the shop in the same way every day. He was quiet, calm, and worked without complaining. One day, when he entered the shop, a young man was waiting in line to get his coffee. He looked around using his phone loudly. Then his eyes fell on the old cleaner. He immediately called out in a sarcastic tone, "Are you cleaning again? Do you walk around in this outfit every day? Wow, you're old. When are you going to retire, or are you still working?" The old man continued his work without saying a word. He did not respond at all. But that young man's sarcastic looks became a little more unbearable. "Wow, are you still a cleaner? A person can start their own life for once, don't you think? Why are you still living like this?" he said with a laugh. There was a condescending look in his eyes. He was trying to belittle the old man in every way. At that moment, the people around heard these sarcastic attitudes. Some of them were disturbed but remained silent. But that old man did not say anything. He just continued his work, as if he did not care about these mockings in some way. He continued to clean the corner, slowly swinging his broom. The young man got a little angrier and said, "That's really a shame. Is it possible to live like this?" and headed towards the cash register to get his coffee. But he noticed something, and that was how calm and careless the old man was still working. The young man turned and checked the old man once more while getting the coffee he had taken from the cash register. But something happened right at that moment that changed everyone's gaze in the shop. The old man started to take out a suit from under his coat. Everyone's eyes widened in an instant. The young man, who could not understand what was happening, took a few steps back. In a few seconds, the old man had put on an extremely stylish suit. He took off his old apron and put on his jacket neatly. The whole shop had suddenly gone silent. No one could understand what was happening. And that moment came. The old man transformed into another person with his elegance. He left the door of the shop and started walking. At that moment, the man sitting at the cash registers suddenly recognized him. The old man was actually a well-known figure. That man was actually one of the most well-known figures in the world, Donald Trump. The young man could not believe his eyes. The person he had seen as a cleaner a moment ago was now a world-famous businessman, former president and billionaire. The young man was stunned. He just stared for a few seconds. In an unexpected moment, he learned who that old man really was. The man he had despised and made fun of had suddenly become a figure that changed everything. At that moment, another person sitting at the cash register also realized who the old man was and screamed, "It's Trump! Really, it's him! Trump?" The other people looked at each other in surprise, trying to understand what was happening. As Trump stepped outside the store, everyone fell silent. The young man's face was suddenly red and embarrassed. He felt very bad. A great sense of regret formed inside him. The man he had made fun of a moment ago was actually much more. That man he had despised and looked down on had now become a hero in everyone's eyes. At that moment, no one in the store could say anything. Everyone thought about how deep a person the old man was, his struggles in his life, and everything. That day, a lesson was learned in that ordinary coffee shop. It was a lesson that showed how misleading it can be to judge by appearance alone. A lesson that reminds us that we cannot judge people just by their appearance. This incident that started in a coffee shop eventually left a deep mark on everyone's heart and mind. Everyone decided never to judge others again, because we can never know when or who we are. From that day on, people started to look at each other in a different atmosphere and with a different understanding in that coffee shop.